said or written at times create a misunderstanding or misinterpretation due to their vast meaning. For instance, the word freedom can be understood differently, just like many other words that we use in our vocabulary daily as we communicate with one another. One can say this, but the next person understands it differently. When we were growing up, corporal punishment was a normal way to punish or correct a child at schools and even our homes. Though it was a painful form of correction, a lot of us came out just fine. So some understood and accepted that norm because it was used to discipline the children, but not to grievously harm the kids in the name of discipline. But unfortunately, some understood it differently and took the whole corporal punishment out of proportion, and a lot of kids in schools and homes were left with permanent scars that left them with traumas to deal with. It is true that some took it as it should be, as a disciplinary measure. I always knew if I get a spank from my mom or my dad, I needed to stop whatever that I was doing as soon as possible. And I knew I would never ever repeat that because I knew when I get a spank, it was wrong for me to do that. So I was told that I have to behave in a different manner. In the current day, things are different. Though new rules of freeing kids from corporal punishment were widely celebrated by almost all structures of society, this still brings a lot of problems because it was also misunderstood, especially by kids. Kids think that removing the corporal punishment, it meant they should challenge and choose not to listen or choose who to listen to, especially not to their parents or even their teachers, because they believed that they got right. I often ask myself, what are rights without responsibility? Do these kids even understand what they are doing? This was just an example, and it did not start with us, and it did not even start with our great-grandmothers. In fact, this is not a new thing. We see it accounted in the Bible. Today's gospel, it is a continuation of a conversation between Jesus and the Jews. We see Jesus continuing to rebuke their behavior. The Jews were known to be the chosen nation, the descendants of Abraham, and they were very proud of it. They will say it boldly. Those who knew and followed God, so they thought. Yet they failed to acknowledge a man who was sent by God, teaching them about God, debating with them about God, but still they couldn't recognize him. Yet they said they knew God. They had a relationship with God because they believed they were the chosen one. Instead, they plotted to kill him because they were afraid he was going to destroy their earthly kingdoms, their positions that they were holding, their wealth. For the fact that they were the chosen generation, favored by God, they thought freedom has got to do with slavery only. But Jesus is trying to show them that they are also enslaved by sin. They couldn't see it. All their life they couldn't see it. Even when Jesus was trying to show them, they still couldn't see it. That is why it's difficult for them to know who Jesus is and be able to listen to him. Mostly because they chose to interpret what he was saying wrongly. And they decided to listen to what they wanted to hear. In our individual journey on earth, many a times we are faced with dilemmas in which we struggle to solve. At times we do not know the answer, but the fear of losing something, our privileges, our careers at times, our wealth, makes us to take thorough decisions when it comes to certain things, and sometimes might be selfish decisions. I believe none of us was once a slave, but no one would like to be a slave of his own conscience, of his own sins, and of his own past. We always believe that what has happened has happened. I would never go back because we believe that once we came to Christ, we are a new creation. And once you're a new creation, we're always looking forward to this beautiful life that we are called to. That's why when the people usually say, when somebody tries to take you back to your past, always say that I am a new creation. And we always say that because we don't want to be slaves of our own sins and our own past. And that's what Jesus was trying to tell the Jews. Today, we are invited by Christ to learn from him and get to know the real definition of freedom. We are called to be free in his love, to rejoice in the salvation that he is bringing to us, and to also open ourselves to welcome others in the very same manner. This Lenten season, we are called to reflect on God's forgiveness, in God's mercy and steadfast love, not in the sin that enslaves us and doesn't allow us to be free in Jesus. Let us use this moment to confess all our sins and direct our ways into God's ways. Let us not allow sin to enslave us to a point where we can't even see Jesus and be able to listen to him. Let us go and confess our sins so that we are able to see Jesus, be able to converse with Jesus, because Jesus is always there to listen and to be able to journey with us. But many a times sins stand in front of us. Let us not allow that to happen.